Happy National Nutty Fudge Day. I don't know how we celebrate because I'm like 100% sure we don't have nutty fudge hanging around here, but we do have coffee, and we'll talk coffee futures coming up in about 5 minutes. Right now, though, we're focused on the corn market. Let's go there. And in Chicago, we're higher across the board. 444 3/4 on the D's. That's up 2 3/4 cents. What about soybeans? We did have a flash sale overnight. Mexico buying U.S. soybeans, 120,000 metric tons, split not quite evenly between old crop and new crop. And speaking of new crop, November, 18 1/4 higher, 10.48 3/4. And then over to the wheat market, and we're watching the wheat market, which has been lower now for 3 consecutive sessions, move higher. 525 3/4, that's 4 higher. Hard red is trading up 5 1/4, 522 3/4. Spring wheat, December is new crop, down 1.5 at 622 1/4. And then the cotton market, it's rallying as well on this news that we might have a deal with China. 70.01 a pound. That's up 134 points. Let's go to Whitehall, Maryland. Certified crop advisor with the mill is Ben Hushon. All right, Ben, it looks like a beautiful day.
Good morning, Tony. It is an unbelievably beautiful day. Certainly, I know I saw some hay being baled over the weekend. We had a short window. Since we last talked, we had somewhere between 1 to 2 inches of rain. So, and then we dried out Saturday, Sunday, and today. Beautiful. For those of you who were just paying attention, there's rain heading towards our region. So farmers in our region today are a little bit torn. Many of them are trying to get back in the field planting corn. I had a fella tell me from a little bit west of here in Carroll County, Maryland, it was still too wet this morning to plant corn. The other thing that's on their mind is wheat. We've talked before about fusarium head blight and how there's this narrow window to get a fungicide on to protect it. And your first trigger point is to look for wheat that is starting to pollinate. And what I have as I stepped into this field, probably 80% of the heads in this field are pollinating, which means you have ideally 5 to 7 days. Some say it's 3 days to get a fungicide on to protect this from getting fusarium head blight. And the challenge is, those of you who are just paying attention, we have rain coming tonight or tomorrow morning and potentially lasting for the next 5 days. So plenty on the farmer's mind. Is it too wet to plant? Should they be spraying their wheat, et cetera, et cetera?
Hey, Ben, you sent a video and you also sent some pictures. What are we seeing here?
That was from over the weekend, just some fellas that were planting corn. Of course, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Some folks will do with dry starter, as the Heston family here is doing. Some will do liquid starter. And again, the other piece to the puzzle for a farmer is there's lots of grass hay that is ready to be baled. And I believe I sent in a picture or two of that happening, rolling up some dry hay. Many times this time of year with the cattle in our community, if that hay doesn't get dry enough, they'll put it in what might sound like a Ziploc bag, but essentially it's a white silage bag that they don't have to worry about letting that hay dry. But in that case, this weekend, there was a lot of dry hay rolled up.
Hey, before we let you go, when we start preparing for harvest on the wheat, where do we want to keep our moisture levels on that? What's too wet to get in?
So most of my career, we've talked about 15, 16%. But since the disease, and I would say arrived fusarium head blight in about the last 10 years, part of the studies and research that had been done by the universities is we need to be harvesting this wheat at 18 to 20%. It helps reduce some of the challenges that this disease can cause. Again, in the Northeast here, almost all of our wheat goes to the flour mills. So that's a different scenario than if it's gone for animal feed.
Ben, always great to see you. Thanks for the insight. Ben Hushon with the mill. All right, we're back in a moment. When we come back, we'll talk livestock futures. Market Day Report continues in a moment.